By the time I was in high school, I had my whole future all figured out. I designed a life plan, and it looked like this. Do well in school, get into a prestigious university, become a CEO, get filthy rich, be happy because I'm rich, and in the end, I had it all figured out. And the way I was raised definitely shaped how I planned this future. As the daughter of immigrants and small business owners, I grew up always being hyper aware of the value of money. When I'd ask my parents for $10 so I could go to the movies with friends, they would respond, "No, go make that yourself." So, because of this, I got my first jobs in early adolescence, sweeping up hair at a beauty salon and changing diapers at a daycare for a whopping $5 an hour, so I was definitely en route towards becoming super rich. And I developed this insane work ethic really early on, along with this desire to become super rich one day, so that I would never have to worry about financial limitations ever again. And this meant that not going to college was never even part of the conversation, because we all know that going to college is a way to get a stable, good-paying job. You can imagine then the notion of something like pursuing your passion was unheard of. And I remember how much this mindset influenced me when I was younger. One of my teachers in high school had a daughter who was a professional dancer. And whenever he'd talk about her, I would judge so much. I would think things like, "That's crazy. How could she possibly make a stable living? I would never choose a career that doesn't make a lot of money." And interestingly enough, I myself actually started dancing in high school. Embarrassing picture. And just for fun and as an extracurricular to do, but I fell completely in love with it. It became my happy place and my escape from all the insane pressure I put myself under at that age and all the stress I was under in high school. But it didn't matter how much I loved it or if I had potential in it. It was still never an option to pursue it. After all, I didn't want to be a starving artist. The only option that existed in my mind was college. And the college I had my sights set on was the Wharton School of Business at UPenn, the #1 undergraduate business school at the time. So, slight roadblock in my life plan. I got rejected from UPenn, but it's okay because I got into the USC Marshall School of Business. So I proceeded with my plan towards becoming that really rich CEO. I moved down to LA for college, and I kept dancing throughout school. I joined a team, and I kept training really hard, taking classes, not because I was pursuing it, but because I just loved it that much. And right before graduating, I remember this conversation I had with a friend about where dance would fit in our lives after finishing school and getting real jobs. And I'll never forget what I said. I said, "Yeah, I'll probably keep dancing for fun. I'll keep it in my life somehow. But there's no way I'll ever be good enough to pursue dance professionally." And I wholeheartedly believe this because I had already planned this entire life towards a business career, and it was way too late. So, immediately after graduating, I went into a full-time marketing job. And one of my responsibilities at work was posting inspirational quotes on our social media platforms. So I'd be sitting there at an office computer, like, "Follow your dreams," and "Life is short, so do what you love, believe you can do anything." Of course, the irony was, I was miserable at this job. I found myself thinking about dance all day long, and I couldn't wait for work to be over every single day so I could go train and take dance class, because dance is the only place where I felt truly happy. And this lasted a couple months until one day, as I was researching quotes to post on social media for work, I stumbled upon this one. "If you want to know where your heart is, Look where your mind goes when it wanders. And I had no doubt where mine was. So I did something that I never in my wildest imagination thought I would do. I took a leap of faith a week before my 22nd birthday, and I quit my full-time job and I decided to pursue dance. Every Asian parent's dream come true. Now, teenage me would be freaking out and probably so concerned if she found out what I do for a living today. I'm a professional dancer and choreographer. I pretty much travel the world teaching dance and choreographing for a living. So, I guess you can say I made a minor change to that life plan. Now, I'd be lying if I said it was all uphill and fairy tales as soon as I decided to chase my dreams. It was actually completely the opposite. As soon as I lost that steady income, it didn't take very long for me to burn through all my savings. Plus, I was now facing what felt like the most impossible mountain of USC student loans that I'd probably be paying off until I'm 250 years old. I was facing my worst nightmare, financial instability. But I tried the 9-to-5 thing, and I was making that stable income I always wanted, and I was still so unhappy. So I knew that I had to at least try to make dance work. So I worked a lot of small, flexible jobs, whatever I could do to get by, while training and investing in my new career path. Let's see, I grocery shopped for people, filed papers, organized closets and office spaces, did some elderly care at a senior home, did freelance marketing social media worked at a small PR agency, was a personal assistant. 1 year, I worked up to 10 different jobs and basically hustled my way into supporting myself while trying to just figure out this dream chasing thing. And eventually, more dance opportunities and jobs began appearing until I was finally able to support myself off of dance alone. And remember that same exact judgment I gave to my high school teacher's daughter who danced? Well, karma, because I definitely get the same exact judgment today when I tell certain people that I pursued my passion and became a professional dancer. A lot of the responses look like this. Oh, cool. I mean, as long as you're happy and doing what you love, right? Who needs money? And you know, once you're older and you can't move around anymore, you can always get a real job. And you know, it's totally okay, it's fine, I get it, I was the same exact way, I understand where it comes from, but it doesn't matter, because I fully believe that I'm doing exactly what I was put on this earth to be doing, and fulfilling my purpose. And as a small cherry on top, for anyone still concerned, just 5 years after graduating college, by the time I turned 26 years old, I paid off my USC student debt through dance. Now, the first time I realized that it's sometimes better for things to not go as you planned was, in hindsight, of course, through getting rejected from my dream school, UPenn. Because moving to LA for college gave me the opportunity to audition for a world-renowned dance company called GRV, which led me to book my first job as an international instructor shortly after quitting my full-time job, which snowballed into the career that I have today. I know it's really hard to feel in the moment, but rejection can sometimes be our friend by steering us away from the things and the paths that we think we really want, but simply aren't meant for us. And I'm definitely not saying that having a life plan is bad. I actually think it's very important to look at your future realistically and to set practical goals moving forward. But I think it's equally important to continue to explore the things you love and the things that excite you. Because following what you love is the very thing that helps you figure out who you are. And as we go through life and we're trying to figure ourselves out and figure out what to do with our lives, we often look to role models and examples in society. And I think we're used to seeing a very specific kind of success story in today's society. It's the story of the multimillionaire mogul who succeeded but didn't need school. They dropped out of college, or they didn't need to go at all to succeed. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, so many musicians and actors and singers, artists. And while their stories are inspirational and amazing, for those of us who grow up in more traditional households, where either we really want to go to college or maybe our parents might disown us if we don't go to college, those stories are a little harder to relate to. It's difficult for us to see ourselves in these dream chasers. For me personally, I always wanted to go to college. I've always really valued education. But I also love dance. And I would see a lot of professional dancers not go to college. And I would hear things or hear them say, you know, I don't need it. I already know exactly what I want to do with my life. It would be a waste of time and money. And I thought, well, I'm not willing to not go to college. I'm not willing to give up school. So that must mean that I could never be a professional dancer or artist of any kind. And of course I was wrong, because I was only looking at one possible path. Because for whatever reason, it's so much less common and less popular to hear about the notable figures in our society who did pursue a higher education. And of course, there are way more than this, but it's interesting to note that while some studied things directly in line with their careers, like Meryl Streep acting, Oprah communications, some didn't. Shaq, after his MBA career, went back to school to get a PhD in education. So we've sort of been conditioned to view practicality and passion as these mutually exclusive things, which means they can't exist at the same time. But these examples show that in the same exact way that people without college degrees can still become extremely successful, those who do pursue more of the conventional, practical route can also still have passion-driven careers and be dream chasers. So, regardless of the path that you choose for your future, whether it's conventional, risky, or somewhere in between, know that it's not necessarily the direction you take that's most important, but rather the qualities you take with you that will define your success. For me, one of those qualities has always been work ethic. So start to think about the qualities that you carry and that you can develop through life so that no matter where your path takes you, you'll be prepared and you'll be okay. When I was preparing for this talk, I thought about what I would want to tell my former teenage self. The overly stressed overachiever who thought she had her whole life figured out, but was completely wrong. And this is what I tell her. First, please chill out a little bit. Everything will be okay. Because the entire fate of your future does not depend on you having to have it all figured out today. A lot of the figuring out happens along the way. And if I'm being completely honest, a lot of adults are still figuring it out as we go. When we're young, we're always encouraged to find what we love and discover who we are, but we're not always told that we'll evolve through life and we'll grow and we'll change. And as a result of that, our interests and even our dreams can change, and that's okay. So as you prepare for your future and make plans for your life, consider keeping an open mind and don't panic or worry if things don't go according to your original plan. Because if there's one thing that my journey has taught me, on this very unexpected path towards where I am today, it's that sometimes life has even greater plans for you than you have for yourself. And I'll leave you with this final thought, because as someone standing in front of you who chased her dreams and took that risky path, I do have the responsibility to be honest. And it's the reality that not everyone achieves the exact version of their dream that they initially envisioned. And what I mean by this is, for example, not everyone who dreams of becoming President of the United States will actually go on to become President of the United States. But that does not mean you shouldn't at least try to do whatever it is that you love or that you want for your life. Because I believe that along the path of relentlessly pursuing who you are and what you're passionate about, you will end up finding exactly where you're meant to be. Thank you.